Over the last 5 years, I've built multiple online six-figure businesses. I've worked and traveled all over the world with billionaires, founders, entrepreneurs, politicians, and celebrities. And some of the times, I even lived in different countries while doing it. This whole entire time, I would keep getting questions like, what exactly am I up to? How am I running these businesses? What specific business am I running? And the whole time, I didn't talk about it. I would just avoid the questions. Not because I had anything to hide, but because I assumed that not that many people really cared. Or I even thought that I just had to keep it to myself. But no more gatekeeping. I'm just gonna put it all out there. Over the last many years, working on every business that you can imagine, everything from drop shipping to a video agency, in this video, I'm gonna show you what is the easiest online business to start, even if you have very little skills and absolutely no money. But there is a catch. If you don't have the money or the skills, it will take time, consistency, and effort. Even people that I've shared this exact business model with aren't willing or ready to put in that time or effort. You need to be able to delay gratification because the results won't come right away. Now, before we get into exactly what the business is and how it works, I'm going to share 2 foundational things that you're going to need to know that will help you formulate your understanding of how this entire world actually works. Foundation number 1. Close your eyes for a second and imagine that you're sitting in a crowded mall. You're surrounded by high-end luxury stores, and you watch a person walk into a store, find a product that they like, buy it, and walk out with the bag. Seems like a simple interaction, right? But what you aren't seeing is what's happening behind the scenes. This entire ecosystem exists beyond what you can actually see physically there. The shop owner, the clothing manufacturer, the shipping company, the fabric supplier, the credit card processor, the mall that's collecting rent from this store, the marketing agencies involved in getting that person in the door and buying the product, and even the software that's running behind the cash register, plus probably 1,000 more things. Every single one of them gets paid in that transaction for simply just being in the middle. When people think about business or even online business, the common thought is, I'm just gonna need a product to sell, or I'm just gonna need to create a product to sell. But the truth is, you don't necessarily need to create anything on the front end. You just need to position yourself between the 2 sides where money is changing hands. That's the entire game. And that's why this business model that I'm going to show you is perfect for beginners. The second foundational thing you're going to need to know for this business is that attention is the biggest and most valuable commodity. Everyone talks about it. Gary Vee, Alex Hormozi, every other social media guru, entrepreneur, course seller mentions and talks about garnering attention, building a social media following. And for most people, when they hear that, that means that they need to get on TikTok, they need to get on Instagram and become an influencer themselves. But that's not quite the case. Understanding that attention is a multi-trillion-dollar economy, and all you need to do is just shave off a very, very, very small percentage of that and you'll get paid, is extremely foundational to what this business is. There are social media apps fighting for your attention. There are influencers fighting for your attention, brands fighting for your attention. And if you can somehow control attention, even if you don't get it yourself, if you can control attention, you can create this business. So now that you understand these 2 foundational pieces, let's apply it to what the business model actually is. Think about someone that has a big social media following today. They have huge audiences, they have reach, and most importantly, they have attention. They are today's version of a digital billboard. How can you, as someone who doesn't quite have that influence, that attention, that reach, profit off of someone who does? You have to understand that even an influencer's reach, brands are fighting for that constantly. They would love to use that influencer's platform to promote their products or promote their services. So how do you become a piece of that entire transaction? When understanding influencers even further, for the most part, they're really good at doing what they do, being creative, being influencers, but they're really bad at being business people. They don't know how to negotiate. They don't know how to track their deliverables. They don't know how to send follow-up emails, and they don't know how much actually to charge. They're really bad at organizing brand deals and managing communication. And many influencers get overwhelmed because it's just all too much work to turn their social media platform into a business. All they want to do is focus on what they're good at, which is creating good content. They don't want to focus on the business side of things. Meanwhile, brands or companies desperately want to use their platforms for content, for visibility, for promoting their products, and they need creators who can do that work really well. So here's where you step in as the bridge, as the middleman. If you're able to just respond to emails professionally, negotiate a little, keep these creators on a strict calendar, follow up with them consistently, and follow up with brands consistently, you can run this business. And that's literally it. So like 5 years ago, I was building a data company. Me and my friend were working closely with brands who were promoting products on social media, and we were scraping through millions of pieces of data to understand which creators and influencers were the best to promote specific products. But as we started working closely with these brands and these clients, we realized something. Our clients didn't care about more data. They didn't care at all about the services that we had to offer. All they cared about was attention, and all they needed was good content. which means that they just needed good content creators who could produce it. We closely paid attention to what the market was asking for and completely pivoted our business model. We dropped the data company and became an influencer marketing agency, where brands were coming to us and negotiating contracts with us to promote their own products on creators' social media platforms. So with this pivot, it completely changed everything. We went from offering data solutions and running a tech company to negotiating deals, managing contracts, and helping creators create really good content. And this is how business works in the real world. When you understand who your client truly is and what they really want, not what you think they want, you can actually provide them a scalable solution and make a lot of money in return. So now let's get into how this business model actually works, from starting all the way to getting paid. So first, you need to pick a niche. Honestly, this can be whatever you are interested in the influencer space. If you're interested in fashion, fitness, tech, makeup, whatever it is that you're interested in, let's start attacking that niche. The next thing is to go and find creators within that niche and look for these very specific metrics. You want to find creators who don't already have management. You find this by looking at the email in their bio or the way that they have you contact them. If it says at Gmail or at Hotmail or one of the big generic email sites, they probably don't have management, so it's a great opportunity to reach out to them. But if they have something like at blank agency or at X management, they already have management and it's going to be almost impossible to get them to talk to you. You want to look for very niche creators who don't already have management and don't already have a huge following. But specifically, you want to find creators that are constantly getting very high engagement, because this means that their following will grow over time and brands will start reaching out to them very consistently. You want to look for people that are undervalued and unrepresented. And then you send them an email. Your pitch has to be so simple. I help creators get brand deals, negotiate better contracts, and manage communication. You don't have to pay me anything. I only earn when you earn. And I would love to manage your brands. I would love to manage your inbox and help you run your business. For the first few influencers that you onboard, you can even offer this completely for free. And that way, once you've onboarded these guys for free, you can reach out to other creators and say, I'm already working with these few creators in your niche, which gives you a little bit of credibility. And the next part is to just start managing them. You put your own email address in the bio, and every single day you filter through all the incoming emails. Many influencers have hundreds of emails coming in every single day, most of which are complete spam. But within those hundreds of emails, there's going to be real brands that are willing to pay real money for you to promote their product. And over time, you get really good at picking out which brands are legit, which brands are just wasting your time, and which companies are just complete spam. Brands are reaching out to you now to help facilitate this partnership. And all you have to do is negotiate the deal. You have to communicate the deliverables, how much content this influencer is going to create for this brand. You have to communicate usage rights. You have to communicate deadlines, payment terms, and pricing. And all of these things you put together in your own custom contract that you send to this brand to sign. And once the brand and the influencer have agreed, you get your cut. Now, this might only make you a few $100s a month, but where the real money is actually made is building an ecosystem of creators within that same niche. So let's say a brand reaches out to one of your creators and they say, I want to pay $1,000 to promote this product. You'll probably only make $100 or $200 off of that deal. But if you already have 10, 15, or 20 plus creators in that specific niche, you can reach back out to that brand and say, yeah, we'll get this product promoted on this page for $1,000, but I have 15 other influencers that can also promote this product. Here's their engagement, here's their analytics, here's their reach. They each charge $1,000. Now, in this one deal that you're managing, which has become a lot bigger, you're making more than $2,000. All you really have to do is create a roster of creators, a deal pipeline, some email templates, and follow up consistently. Creating this list of reliable creators and making good connections with brands and having good relationships with them will keep this engine running consistently, and you can get to between $5,000 and $10,000 a month pretty easily. Once this ecosystem is completely built, you're no longer chasing after brands to bring you deals or chasing after influencers. Influencers are going to work with you because you're helping other creators get paid quite a bit of money, and brands are going to reach out to you consistently and over again because you provide them a good, clear-cut service. Your big value proposition is that you're facilitating this collaboration. Brands get frustrated because influencers don't respond to emails on time, they don't post videos on time, so you're babysitting the creator and making sure they do all that. Influencers get frustrated because they just don't have time to look over contracts, to negotiate deals, and you're providing them value by doing that annoying work for them. But the real secret in this entire business is that you have to plant the seeds. You have to accept the delayed gratification because this does take a couple months to start actually making you money. For every 200, 300 influencers that I would reach out to, I would only get maybe 10 or 15 replying back to me. And out of those 10 or 15, I'd only get like 1 or 2 agreeing to let me manage them. This is not a get rich quick type of business model. This is a build something profitable over the course of a long time business model. So if you stay consistent, you're constantly following up, constantly outreaching, and you're treating creators and brands with respect and professionalism, your names will spread faster than you can expect. Creators will start reaching out to you out of nowhere. Brands will start reaching out to you out of nowhere because word travels fast within this industry. Consistency trumps talent, execution trumps ideas, and long-term thinking trumps quick dopamine. So if you want a business like this, something that requires no money, no special skills, can be run from your phone remotely wherever you are in the world, that earns money consistently and puts you at the center of a multi-trillion-dollar economy, starting this kind of influencer marketing agency is probably one of the smartest moves that you can make. This is for someone who doesn't know where to start when it comes to online business. This is very low risk, very low stakes, and even if it doesn't work out, you don't really lose that much. And to be honest, this is only scratching the surface. So if you want the exact templates, the exact scripts, the negotiation frameworks, and more content like this, sharing different online businesses, how they work, how to run them, and everything you need to know about making money online, make sure to leave a comment down below because I'm done gatekeeping. I want to help you build something real and open your eyes to a completely new world where you don't have to trade your hours for dollars anymore. So let's build some online businesses.